Muskegon Channel. I'm Andy O'Reilly, and I am at the Department of Veterans Affairs down in Muskegon today. You'll recognize that guy. He never caught me, but hey, he sure gave it a try once or twice.
Not that he didn't try.
Yeah, right. Bob Carter is here, and I got to be honest, this is kind of a cool thing for me too, because Dave Eling is you were one of the first interviews I ever did when I came to town to be on the radio. I think we were talking about. We were either talking about the ship or maybe the helicopter.
Bring Final Approach.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we worked with the 180th to get that done.
So yeah, I mean, you were really one of the very first people I ever had on the radio here in town, so kind of cool to be back and doing our new thing.
It took us 24 years to get back and do another one.
Is that it, huh? I haven't been here that long. It just feels like it, but
It hasn't changed much.
not much. Me either.
A little
Right?
grayer.
Yeah. I got married, look what happened.
Yeah.
Right there. We are here today to talk a little bit about the Veterans Memorial Causeway. There's some work going on, a restoration that's already gotten underway. I mean, some of it started already out there at the park, but the summer of 2017 is going to be a big season as far as the restoration of this park goes. Dave, tell us a little bit about the history of the park. How long has this thing been there?
1937.
Wow.
I actually started about 34, but when he got it finally finished and the design was done and it was built across that causeway, that's when it was dedicated. And they used to march from downtown Muskegon all the way out there to that causeway back in the day when the old guys in World War One guys, World War II guys are still out able to march. But man, I don't think you can hardly get any of us to march that anymore. We drive out to it. But the park has ebbed and tide. It's gone from being Michigan's most beautiful mile.
Yep.
Then the elm disease came in there and wiped out all the elm trees, and then it fell down disrepair, and it got flooded out a few times, and the muskrats took over, and then some of the organizations would come back together and try to bring it back to life. And I think I've been back here since 1990, and we've done a lot of stuff. We discovered that everybody thought the north end belonged to North Muskegon and the south end belonged to Muskegon, city of Muskegon, but neither one was true. It belonged to road department for all these years.
Yeah.
And so we finally got both the pieces that are deeded over to the County Department of Veterans Affairs now.
Cool.
They own that. And then we got an agreement to sign, a 40-year agreement between the city of Muskegon, Muskegon County, and North Muskegon to share the cost of maintaining that park. It's about $36,000 a year.
Is it really that much?
Yeah.
$36,000,
For the
wow.
fertilizing and the man hours out there to cutting the grass and keeping the fountain going and the irrigation going and all the stuff that has to be done out there. It's quite a bit of money involved with that. And the irrigation's old. Some of the stuff's old.
Sure.
Piping in there and it's been broken and whatever. And then we started about 1995. People could buy a tree.
Yep.
As a living memorial. Your veteran passed away, you wanted to put a tree out there. So way back in the day, a very nursery up there on Whitehall Road kind of got involved with it, and they said, if you want to purchase the tree, we'll go out and plant it for you. And then the city said, as long as you put a ring around it where we can mow around there and maintain it, then you can do that.
Yeah.
And so as a living memorial. And there was an old cinder walkway around that trail way back in the day, but it kind of got grown over and whatever else. So in 1995, we West Michigan Veterans and the Veterans Service Center said, we'd like to put a trail out through there.
Yeah.
And I think we could do this if we sold markers. And you bought a marker and we the trail. So I went to Pat Johnson because we had a little bit of money in a community foundation. And I said, Pat, can I get $5,000 of that money? Because we want to put a trail throughout that Veterans Park. And she said, well, Dave, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. And I said, well, why not? And she said, well, there's a rule of 700 in Muskegon County. And I said, what would that one be? And she said, well, about 700 families will donate, like a paver in Hackley Park,
Yeah.
in front of Frohenthal. That's about it. And they won't do it. And I said, well, 83% of families in the United States have a veteran in there someplace, 83. And over 500, it's about 595 now, but veterans from Muskegon County have lost their life from this county over all the wars, from World War I to the First Gulf War. That's a lot, 595 for this little community. And I said, that's a memorial park dedicated to those men and women who lost their lives.
Yeah.
So I said, I think we could do this. So we started just advertising, here's what we're going to do. We're going to sell these markers. They're 3x5. You can have your name on them. And we said, we don't want any upsmanship, because somebody say, well, I was a captain, or I was a sergeant, or I was this, and I was that. It's
Doesn't
not
matter.
about what ethnicity. It's about what branch of service did you serve in,
Yep.
when did you go in, when did you get out.
Yep.
And the only thing different would be that if you were killed in action, at the end of your service date would be a KIA. Everybody else is equal. It doesn't matter what you did in, or
Yep.
where you went, or it's that you served your country in that branch of the service during that time frame. So we fought that back, got that one going. So they would do that, yeah. So in 1996 then, the first pour went down. We had $50,000 in sales.
Wow.
Sight on scene that there wasn't even a trail out there yet.
No
That
kidding.
we were going to do that. So
Yeah.
we made the first pour, and then everybody started buying. Boy, everybody wanted to get a marker out there because here was a chance to put your family history.
Sure.
And he said, well, what about if I have a brother, and he was from Michigan, but he lives in California now. I said, the tie is here. If he was born and raised here, or you were here,
Yep.
that's part of your family.
Yep.
And I said, I'm so proud of that. As you walk that walkway, you look at those markers, there's the history of Muskegon County. And we have, I think, 9 Civil War veterans who
Wow.
had the paperwork, their families did, all the way up through modern wartime. The guys just getting out of the service today from Iraq and Afghanistan, or just getting out of the military, are out there on that trail. So that's pretty impressive. There's the south end, I think, there were 3,200 markers, and we're about 200 already at the north end.
No
putting around there. Yeah. So
it's a big deal.
oh,
it's a huge
yeah,
thing.
Oh, yeah.
it's a very big deal.
You're retired and you're busier than you've ever been.
Oh, sure.
You've been helping to try and get this thing all under plan and things like that. What's the importance to you, Bob?
Well, I look back at my own history here in Muskegon, and the service was such a critical issue in my
Yeah.
life. I think it really gave me the discipline and that kind of thing.
And you know what? Hindsight being 2020, I look back at my younger days. I agree. That would have been a good thing for me. You know, I took my
Definitely
path
back,
and
same thing.
it worked out fine. But I think looking back, but when you're 19, 20 years old, 4 years looks like a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know.
But
So
when-
anyway, go ahead.
But when your
Sorry.
draft number is 3, you
Yeah.
figure, where am I going to go? So I'm going to the Air Force. I don't want to be fodder for anybody. I want to go.
Well, when you're brought up in your family environment, you take on the personality sometimes of your. And my father was always he always wanted me to go into service, and I said, no, they're going to have to draft me. Well, when I went to college over in Grand Rapids, and I played football, and I played baseball, and the rest of the time I think I screwed off a little bit, and I come home and I said. I don't really think I'm giving you a fair shake for your buck.
Right.
I think I'm going to go into service. And Percy Moore, who was a local referee, umpire, was a friend of mine, and he was a recruiter, Air Force recruiter. So I went down there and I talked to him, and he called me up and he gave me some dates. He says, if you go this way or that way, you can. I wanted to do something with aircraft, whatever it was. And he called me up and he says, I've got an opening, and if you're interested, I'd like to sign you up. And I said, yeah. So I went down. She says, you'd have thought the world come to the crescendo of life with my dad. My dad was just the happiest thing you ever
That's
seen.
awesome.
Being proud.
And that's kind of how it started.
That's cool. As time has gone on and taken its toll on our park, there are some things that need to be fixed and some things that need to be replaced. And a lot of that stuff's going to go on this summer.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I think one of the things you guys are looking for is some patience with people. I mean, because the park's used for much more than just the memorial. I mean, people are out there walking, people are taking their dogs, they're bringing the family through, that kind of stuff. Well, this construction's going on. It's going to stay open, but you're asking for a little help from the public.
Yeah, it's going to be disruptive, and our goal kind of was to, with this committee, that a lot of people worked on this. A lot of people have been involved with this, and to go back to Gephardt's original design of what that park was to look like. And now we've actually found that there are elm trees that are Norway, I think, or the Scandinavian country, the resistance to the Dutch elm is to go back, because we have some original postcards that said Michigan's most beautiful mile on it, and it showed that all the causeway was lined by these elm trees. And so we're going to go back to that. And I think one of the first big steps was we got an MDOT grant 3 years ago. It was a $1.2 million, and it was to redo the infrastructure. Electrical was all bad through the park. There weren't enough plugins. It actually started with the Lions Club. Would go out there, would decorate the park. Try to put some Christmas lights up and display. We old guys get up there stringing the lights on there, and you run extension cords all over the dog park to find something to plug it into, and it was at the old light poles.
Yep.
Well, if something got tripped the trigger, then you had to call the consumers. They'd send a guy on the truck, and he'd get a ladder. He'd go up there, and he'd flip the switch, and the lights would come back on.
Long drive too.
Oh.
All the way across the street.
Yeah, well, yeah, you get up there and do that, to do that, but the lights would be off, and so we said, we need more lights, and we do that. And then consumers came along and said, well, we're gonna take all those, they already knew they were gonna sell the place off. I said, well, we're gonna declare all those lights along the causeway there as non-essential. You don't need to really be there. So, well, what we'd like to do is put new lights in, but put them along the trail. So that trail is illuminated, because you're right, a lot of people walk that trail for exercise. It's a good trek all the way around there. You got, but it's pretty. There's wildlife to see, and it's peaceful, and nobody messes with you. You can just walk that route.
Yep.
But we always were worried about nighttime, and but so they got the new lights now that are out there, and if you go on by it at nighttime, it's stunning because they can elongate that light.
Yep.
And so it's perfectly spaced, so the whole entire walkway on the island and every place is totally illuminated. You aren't walking into a shadowed area. You walk around the whole entire thing. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's
And so that all took place. And then in the process of doing that, Whimsidick came up to us and they said, we're going to go after a $5 million grant to restore some of the lakeshore in Muskegon Lake.
Yep.
But we don't have enough lakeshore to qualify for this federal money, whatever else. What are you guys thinking about doing about the park? And we said, well, we'd like to get rid of those cattails because they're doing this, and they're invasive species, and they're on and on. So Kathy Evans went out and measured that old thing, and she said, that's enough footage. I think we would do it. So she added that to the grant, submitted it, and got approved. Well, another $2.6 million is going to go in this Vets Park. So now we're talking almost $4 million improvements. But that's going to happen out that park, and it's going to be stunning. I mean, it's going to be stunning.
The nameplates are going to have to come up during the construction project.
Not on the walkway, around the trees.
Oh, around the trees. Okay, all right,
where
good.
the trees are. Some of those trees out there were not designed to be, because it's a high water table there, and the roots have rotted out on it. They put the wrong kind of tree. Everybody wanted to have it so they were a flowering tree of some time. So in the springtime, it's beautiful with all the flowers coming out on the trees, blue. But some of the trees have died. People have even planted them too. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's live, folks. That's what happened. Bet it's his wife.
No, Muskegon Surgical. I don't know what that's all about. They know something I don't know. We better hurry this up. I don't know how much longer I get.
We'll get you fixed up. But anyway, so I mean, this money's coming in. The project's going to get underway. Patience is being asked for. Some of the big improvements will be, getting back to the original design, which is a big deal. You've got the trees that have been dead that will be replaced.
Yes.
And what's the key message to Muskegon as this gets underway?
Is like the patience, because you're going to see they're going to lift both the bridges will eventually be lifted. They're going to be restored. The Lions Club, Northside Lions, are going to help us restore those bridges.
Very cool.
Go over to the island. We had the cannons restored a year or so ago. They had that done. So they're going to set a barge in there, and they're going to take I don't know how many metric tons of sludge out of the bottom of that lagoons, and it's actually going to be piped back out. It's going to be that lagoon on the north end, south end here is going to be back open to the river again.
Cool.
So the river will actually flow back in there and flow back out, which will circulate around there and keep it nice and clean.
Yep.
And any fish that are in the Great Lake, Lake Michigan, Muskegon Lake, or the river will be able to go in those lagoons now.
Cool.
They're going to clean the basin out and do like they did at White Lake, put fish habitats down in there, a rookery, if you will, for them to
Fish
breed.
condos.
Oh yeah,
That's the word.
It's going to be amazing. So there'll be and then they're going to remove all the cattails. Going to be removed. That is invasive species. If you look at that picture, you can see on the other side there how it's already choked off that whole side.
It really has.
And the bank will be contoured right down to the water. There'll be deeper water there, so that you don't have all that stuff growing up. And if you had a marker out there on a tree, we're trying to identify all the families that have a tree out there with a marker by it. We know there's names on that, and so all those markers are going to be lifted up.
Yep.
And they're going to be stored on site down there.
Okay.
And then as trees are removed because they're dead or dying or they're the wrong species, all of the markers are marked geographically. I guess it's geography
we've got a whole map of it, and they can see that.
Yeah, we know exactly where it's going to go. So if that tree was yours, it's going to come out. We're going to get as close to that original site as we can. And if you go out there and you have a one out there and there's a red marker around the tree, that tree has to be removed.
Yep.
And we're going to replace it with another tree that's alive, or we'll get you as close as that possible. We can put it back up. But all the markers will be, they're bagged and tagged. We already know where they go. They're exactly where they're supposed to be located. And they'll be safeguarded and placed back out there by a tree.
Let's get on to the meeting.
Yeah.
Because this is something the public's going to be interested in.
Yeah.
Something the public's invited to come and be a part of at Muskegon
Strongly
Community
encouraged.
College. Please come
Yeah.
is the message.
Yeah.
Talk about the meeting coming up at MCC.
Well,
Or
that's,
should we let him talk?
yes.
Well, that's okay, go ahead. Well, I think what the board decided is that we really needed to have some kind of a public relations
Absolutely.
output here because of what could happen.
Yeah.
Someone could go there inadvertently and find out that it was, the marker's gone, the tree's gone, what happened to
Nobody
it?
told me.
Nobody
Yeah.
told me. So that's really the basis of this, and Kathy Evans has made the arrangements at Muskegon Community College for us to meet there on the 24th of May.
May
for
24th, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, and hopefully we can dispel any false rumors that might be out there that we're not aware of at this
Right.
time, and at the same time give people a very good look at what is going to happen
What's
when
gonna
this thing
happen.
is completed.
It's a great thing.
Oh yeah, sure.
And it's taken a lot of work. I mean, you guys have been at this for a year, 2?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
So,
And to do anything with water or wetlands, you got to get everybody and their brother to
Oh, yeah.
sign off on, and they all have to look at it before anything can be done. You're going to move this. You bet it was a soil samples, sediment samples. What are you going to do with this stuff when you haul it out, and what are you going to dig up? So it's being done right. It's being done the right way. But I think the biggest thing is to find out if you know of anybody in this community who had a tree, who has a tree out there, and they've got a marker who these families. We have a list of all the names.
Yep.
Here it is right here. Here's a list of every name on every marker that's out there. But some of these families are gone now.
Yeah.
But if you're a relative or you're a neighbor, so I know John or Dave or Bob had a marker out there, and I think it was over there by that. Well,
Yep.
we can find the last name, and so we got to notify the family, say, here's what's going to happen.
yeah.
The biggest thing is not to worry. It's not going to be lost. It's not going to be destroyed. We're not going to throw them away. They're going to be safeguarded, and they'll be placed right back where they were, or as close as we get to that original spot, and it'll be a brand new tree there, or the original tree.
As an example, there were some of those that we tried to well, you know, the name sounds familiar, and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you try to start checking back on it, and you can't find it. It only goes a certain ways, and then you don't know where you are. So
Yeah.
then that's really why this thing is so important.
Yeah. Make sure you're there. Muskegon Community College. This has been a lot of work for these guys, and it's been going to be the payoff's going to be tremendous. I mean, what do you talk? 40 more years of that's just amazing that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to have this lease going on, and it's Michigan's most beautiful mile.
Well, that's what we want to do, is have the governor come back, whoever the governor is, whenever this gets done, and rededicate this as Michigan's most beautiful. We want that title back in Muskegon County where it belongs.
We'll take it.
On that part. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Dave Eling, Bob Carter, thanks guys so much.
Thank you.
All the details are here on the Muskegon channel. Make sure you click those links and get out to that meeting at the Muskegon Community College. 6 o'clock on May 24th. That's where you're going to find out all the details. And if you know somebody, share this story and pass it along and help spread the word. Dave, Bob, thanks guys.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Andy.